What's going on YouTube? Sundeep M3 back again with another video. Hope you guys are enjoying the uploads and feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and more. And stay tuned for more videos. As you guys can see in front of me, we're installing a JB4 unit for the S58. So I wanted to increase the power a little bit on this car. Not that it's slow or anything, but wanted to get some more power out of it and run the stage 293 map. That should give me about 80 to 100 extra wheel/torque. So as you can see here, there's just 4 connections that we're going to do. I'll show you the steps once we get to it. So basically you're just taking off the panel coverings by the cowl. And on the left side of the engine bay, there's 2 EWG sensors that we need to get to. And then moving our way to the right, there is one under the MST intake pretty far down. That's the tough T-map one to get to. And lastly, there's a map sensor right up here. That's probably the most easiest one. So once we have these 4 sensors installed, we need to mount the JB4 unit somewhere over here and then route through the grommet to get to the OBD2. Once that's plugged in, we just have to download the app and set it up and make sure we're on map 2 or map 1, whatever preference, and then we can start turning it up. So we just got the wire routed through the grommet from the inside of the car and kind of shined a flashlight through to see and fished it out through this end. So once we fish the rest of it out, we can go ahead and connect it to the unit and start wiring in the rest of the 4 sensors. Showing you guys another angle from the inside. So basically this kick plate right here, we just unscrewed it, dropped it down. And then right now, if you can kind of see up there, there's the grommet hole. So we just fished through the wire, connected right here to the OBD2. And the rest of the work is back to the engine. So the T-map sensor, we had to remove one bolt to kind of free up some space to get the line out of the way.
Yeah, the one that holds this whole unit.
Right,
there.
That whole unit there. So then we're trying to get a clear angle, but it is super hard to see. So basically straight down there, if you can kind of see, there's a black clip. So that has the T-map wire. We're going to need to finagle that and get to it. And then once we do that, we can go ahead and then switch it to the new one. So right here in the instruction guide, you can see a better shot of what it looks like. Just a quick update. We ended up taking out the MST intake to get some more space along with the T-map sensor. Once that was done, it took a little bit of time just to kind of finagle with the wiring and manage to get that through. So we were able to do that. It took about 30 minutes or so. The map sensor up here was pretty easy, as I was mentioning earlier. The rainbow connector just goes from there to the JB4 harness. So next we're going to go ahead and tackle the 2 EWGs and I'll show you how that's done. We finished up with both the EWGs. The first one's closer to intake right there. And the second one is kind of right here next to the engine. Both weren't too bad since there were more space involved on this side compared to the T-map. So lastly now we need to go ahead and wire up the JB4 and connect that and mount it, and then we can go ahead and mess with the app and configure the settings. Now that we're finished with all the hardware and installing everything, we can go ahead and download the JB4 app and boot it up and connect it to the Bluetooth. If you don't have Bluetooth, you'd have to use the OBD cable wire to connect it. So I got the app downloaded right here. Let's go ahead, hit connect. Connecting to device. Would you like to link this? Yes, let's link it. So basically it's connecting it and transferring my profile, which I created. So it looks like everything is there. Let's go ahead. Looks like we're in map 2 already. I'm going to go ahead and try to update and then get back to you guys. I went into the settings and found the firmware updates. So there was a latest one that I'm missing, so it's currently updating right now. We do have a drivetrain malfunction, but usually in the past, in my experience, whenever updating anything, it does throw these type of malfunctions. So once it's done right here, it will hopefully go away, and then I'll show you guys how to connect to map 2. Now that the update is completed, we can go back and go ahead and go to the map settings. I'm picking up this video about 2 weeks later since we installed the JB4. I wanted some seat time behind the wheel so I could give you guys an opinion on my thoughts and to make sure there were no issues with it before we went ahead. So one of the things during the install that was kind of tedious, as you guys saw, was the T-map sensor under the intake. Basically, that was just a super tight and restrictive area where we didn't really have much space to get our hands or any tools for that matter. So that did take about 30 or 40 minutes, which was like half the time of the install spent just on that. But once we got that done, as you guys saw, the EWGs on the left side of the engine bay was fairly easy along with the map sensor. And then it was just a matter of wiring the unit through the grommet to the OBD2 inside the car. And then setting up the app and making sure the latest firmware updates were done. And setting it to map 2, which is what I preferred to use. Since I'm primarily going to be only running the 93 over here, since I don't really want to do E blend or E30 or E85 or E50 blends for that matter, since this is enough performance for me. I'm sure some of you guys are wondering why I decided to go to JB4 versus other tuning options such as dollar or even ECU femto unlock. So the first reason I went with JB4 is I picked it up for basically half the price of what it costs new. So I felt like at that option it was definitely worth trying out and getting some power over nothing and seeing how I feel, and then maybe later down the road weighing my other options. But once I have it now, I could say it's enough power and I'm pretty satisfied with that. And the second reason is I didn't want to do femto is due to the shipping time and having to wait for the ECU basically taking about 1 week to come back. But the more important factor was I couldn't justify the cost. Since you guys know I'm always looking for budget options on modding the car and doing things that way. Basically it's $600, which would be $300 each way via DHL priority to ship it out. And then once it gets there, you have to pay femto about $650 for their services. So you're looking at $1,250 all in just to have the unlock done. That doesn't include the tune, so if you're gonna go boot mod, that's almost another $600 just to have a stage 293. Then if you want custom tunes, that could range up to $1,000. So basically it would have costed me $1,800 just for the stage 2. And then if I decide to sell the car down the road, I wouldn't be recouping that money for the femto unlock unless it was valued to some buyer and they were willing to pay more for it. But if I'm trading in or other scenarios like that, it wouldn't be worth it. And there's no resale. First, the JB4 I could sell back and just get my money back. I am familiar with the JB4 platform and have used it in the past around 2016, 2017 time before boot mod got popular on my F30 328. Even at that time, I was looking to get a small power gain to get around 300 horsepower. So I felt like it was a good option at that time. I did get drivetrain malfunctions about every week or so where I would have to kind of stop the car, restart it, wait a couple seconds, and then turn it back on, and then it would disappear. I didn't really run the faults or anything, so I can't say what the issue was, but it was kind of annoying and definitely not as good as a flash tune. But since then, JB4 has developed drastically, and there are a lot more options where you can do ethanol and do custom settings as well, so they have advanced. And I feel like right now they're one of the best piggyback tunes for this market. Now let's go for a ride and I'll give you my thoughts on the JB4 Map 293 tune. Try to merge on the highway real quick to get you guys a couple pulls. So the JB4 does kick in around 3,000 to 4,000, so just let the traffic catch up. And it's like now. Basically, to me, it doesn't seem as linear as a flash tune, I guess, since it's more of a piggyback and altering the map settings. What it basically does is when the boost kicks in and the turbo spool, it kind of unleashes all that power at once, kind of like a VTEC feeling, basically. So you get, basically you're just going regular performance till that 3,000 to 4,000 mark, and then as soon as the boost kicks in, the power delivery just flat, like straight away, just floors it throughout the whole car. So, I mean, it's not linear like I was saying, but you do still get that performance at the end of the day. And for me, I don't really mind it because I'm not flooring it in like lower gears like first or second. So when I'm at like highway speeds in third or fourth gear, hitting those RPMs that I mentioned, you do get that full power. So it still is power regardless, but it's just not as linear or smooth feeling, if that makes sense. But I do still recommend it, and for what the price was, it's still fun. You do get the power. I haven't had any issues, no check engine lights, drive-throughs, you don't need to change spark plugs or do anything. So you just give it and then go. Not really much else to say about it. I mean, it does its job for what it is. It's basically manipulating the boot boost and all the other fuel trims of the vehicle to effectively gain that performance. So it's doing its job. Comment down below if you have any other questions or want to see more videos or my thoughts on the JB4 unit. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. Sandeep M3 out.